I've got my boy Rajan, 22-year-old that went from flipping dusty ass sneakers in his bedroom, building a real estate portfolio, one of the best wellness cabins in all of Virginia, taking over the internet, over 500,000 followers gained in less than a year. What can you tell millennials about creating content?
Put the phone on the tripod and just hit record. You have to double down and keep documenting, keep creating. Can you get people to watch past the 3-second mark?
You gotta meet GaryVee.
I was introducing myself and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, brother, I've seen it. And when he said that, I was like, no way.
Do you feel like you have to apologize for being privileged?
My parents came from nothing. Growing up in the village in India, like you really get a perspective on life. So many people there like live till they're 95, 100.
So if they're happy and fulfilled, then why should Indians move to the US? What do you know about money and life and business that the average Gen Z, average millennial, average adult doesn't understand?
Every day I woke up, I was like, today is day 176 of building Virginia's #1 luxury.
Rajan, bro, this is my podcast. What are you doing? We don't get to do your little intro.
Oh, where are we?
Today is day 295 of building the best podcast in the world, and I've got my boy Rajan, 22-year-old that went from flipping dusty ass sneakers in his bedroom to building a real estate portfolio, one of the best wellness cabins in all of Virginia, taking over the internet, over 500,000 followers gained in less than a year. Rajan, what's up, bro?
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. I'm so excited. We got a professional podcast studio. It's pretty much my first time doing it in a studio like this. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped.
That's right. I take this shit seriously, man. I take it seriously. You are a 22-year-old, just graduated college. You turned down a job from JPMorgan. Mm-hmm. You have turned a shoe flipping business into a real estate portfolio. What do you know about money and life and business that the average Gen Z, average millennial, average adult doesn't understand?
Wow, that's a loaded first question. I think one thing I've made very clear on social media is that I don't know these things. And like, I actually don't know like a lot more than probably my average viewer that's watching. I think a motto that me and Renzo like started this with on day one was that you don't need to be spectacular to do spectacular things. And I think we've proved that over the last about 11 months since starting this project. My whole philosophy has always been owning assets. So ever since when I was buying shoes, I started at 17 and I was able to save a lot of money because, I'm very fortunate. My parents were able to pay for my school. I didn't have to worry about rent. So every single dollar I made from the shoe business, I saved. And eventually I had so much money that my dad was like, listen, like you can invest this in the stock market, but at the end of the day, like you can also own assets. And that's when I got into real estate. So at 20 years old, I was really lucky UVA has a great network. That's where I went to college. And I had a real estate agent there help me buy my first investment property. And from there was where I really saw the power of like owning an asset versus I was running a business, which was really good, but I was working in the business and not on the business. And I was a one-man show. So I was basically working a job. Awesome. Loved it. Shoes, I still have love for it to this day, but owning like a real estate asset, I saw it brought like a whole new avenue to like, oh wow, like this is an asset that appreciates in value, has cash flow, and like, I want more of this.
Yeah, but did you know all that stuff going into it? Like the average 20-year-old doesn't know the difference between an asset and a liability. Mm-hmm. But here you are, you already started a business because you wanted to. How did you know that this was going to be able to turn into something more than just cleaning shoes and flipping them and selling stuff online?
I didn't know at the beginning. Like I didn't know anything at the beginning. I was, like I said, I was super fortunate to have my real estate agent basically handhold me through the whole thing. Like I remember we went to our first 3 showings and on paper, I'm a finance guy. So like from the modeling perspective, I was like, yo, this is awesome. Like cash on cash return and like it'll appreciate. It's really close to UVA, all this stuff. But like the actual like physical side to it, we would walk through house. I remember one story very specifically. I was like dead set on this was going to be the investment property that I wanted. Like it was going to make a great return. I was looking at the comps and all this stuff. And we walked through the house and my agent noticed that the hallways were very slightly not parallel. And I'm like, obviously like I wouldn't know what that means. And he's like, no, there's something wrong here. Turns out there was a fire in the house and they redid the whole foundation. It was a huge insurance risk. And that's something that if I went into that by myself without someone who's like experienced, I would have bought that house and who knows like what would have happened now. So he really like saved me from doing like a lot of stupid decisions in my opinion. But yeah, like it was really having someone in my corner that knew what he was doing. Like he was an agent that owned investment properties himself. He had, I think 10 properties when I started working with him. So he knew the game from an investor's lens. And I think that was super important because he just walked me through it all. Like, it's more than just the numbers. Like, there's like the physical asset itself. Like, on paper could look good, but you go into it and like you have to go through all these like little nooks and crannies and figure stuff out.
Yeah, so you know how to trust people, right? And I think that's something that I've seen in you is you like surround yourself with really good people and you don't take it too seriously, and able to make decisions that result in like just moving forward. And so tell me about the shoe business, because basically it's just, it's you in your room, and we'll throw up a picture of you, scrubbing the shoes with a stack of hundreds of pairs. But like, tell me about what that was like. So it was COVID. You had to go back home from school. Everything was shut down. And then what happened? And like, how much money were you actually making flipping shoes?
Yeah. So I started my senior year of high school. So I was 17 at the time, and COVID had just hit. No, I started my junior year of high school. So yeah, I was still 17. And then my whole senior year was online because of COVID. And I was like so bored. I didn't know what to do. Classic. Came across a GaryVee video, and it was this episode called Trash Talk, and he goes to like garage sales and thrift stores and finds stuff to like flip on eBay. And I'm like, wow, this is like looks pretty cool. I started doing that when I'd just gotten my license as a junior in high school, and I started going to these thrift stores and started flipping everything. And eventually I niched down to shoes because that's just what I loved. From a money perspective, like I think the most I ever netted in shoes was like $7,000, which as a college student, like was so much money to me. But you stack that over 5 years, like I was making on average about like maybe anywhere in the range of like 3,000 to 7,000 profit like every month. And you stack that over 5 years. And like I said, like I was very privileged. Like my parents paid for my school. I didn't need to pay for tuition. So I was able to stack like a good amount of money over the course of 5 years, which was able to fund the acquisition of the investment property and then also this development that we're doing now. Went into that shoe business, I was a one-man show. And I think that's like one reason why I didn't scale to probably the level that I could have. I was sourcing the shoes, I was listing the shoes, I was cleaning the shoes, I was doing all the customer support, I was doing everything. It got to the point where I was cleaning so many shoes that I think my sophomore year, like I had like an eternal cough because I was coughing 24/7.
Oh,
because I was breathing in so many chemicals from cleaning the shoes. And like I was around dirty shoes all the time that I was coughing the whole year. So I put my entire life into it.
yeah. Was there a moment you're like, fuck this? Like, I am not cleaning shoes anymore? Or like what? Because how many years did you do it for?
I did it for 5 years. So I did it from 17 to about my senior year of college. So like 22. So my last semester is when I pretty much stopped.
Okay. And you use that money to then go buy your first property.
Yeah. So I bought my first property at 21. So my junior year of college. And that was it was a $295,000 house. I put 20% down after closing costs. I put in like 70 grand into it. And then the development was November. So we got it under contract November of 2024, closed January of 2025. So this year. And that was me and Renzo combined put 40 grand each. So 80 grand total in cash. And then we leveraged the rest.
All right. What I'm hearing is you made a decision to just start creating income, right? Through the shoe business. And you recognize that this was not sustainable, but it was the vehicle that then got you to go invest in assets, and you even partnered. So like, I want everyone out there hearing this, whether you were in college or not, it didn't matter. Like anybody could have gone and done what you did to create the income that you did. And anybody could have gone and bought real estate with that, whether they're in college, whether they have parents that are paying for stuff or not. But like, nothing is forever. That's one of the things that I love about entrepreneurship is people get so stuck in the thing that they think they're going to do forever, right? Someone might not start because they're like, oh, I don't want to clean shoes forever. But you know that you can do something else with it.
Exactly.
Right. And so do you still have that investment property now?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's 5 minutes away from UVA. Have a good tenant. It's basically just on autopilot. I have a property manager for it. So that one I don't really look at.
Are you the only 23-year-old that owns an investment property?
I don't think so.
I mean, that you know.
That I know? Now, no. But when I was at UVA, yes.
Okay.
Through social media, obviously, like I've met like a lot of like younger investors. But when I was at school, like that was also one of the things. Like let's talk about it. Like I bought a house when I was 21. Like that was just like a huge like thing like at school for me.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, wow, like how did this kid do it? Because I was silently selling shoes for so many years. And then all of a sudden, like I had this investment property, and like I was also in a real estate club at UVA. So knowing that, it just like, I was able to get into like a lot more rooms at UVA by owning investment property. I was able to get in with like the real estate professors, like all that stuff.
Oh, so there's like professors teaching real estate?
Yeah, there are. I'm not someone to rip on school at all. Like I had really good professors. On the real estate side, like I wasn't helped more on, I didn't learn a lot about development. Like it was all through Renzo. Like I didn't know anything about real estate development, but from like an actual like modeling and like finance perspective of real estate, I learned a lot through UVA.
Okay. So should everybody go to college?
Should everyone go to college? I should have went to college. I can say that. I should have went to college. When I came to UVA at 18, I feel like you can't put a price on learning social skills and learning how to talk to people. I could not have this conversation with you when I was 18.
Tell me about that.
I identified as an introvert. When in reality, I think I just didn't have the social skills to like connect with anyone. I had a really close group of friends all throughout like elementary to high school, like close group of like six friends. And obviously like I had acquaintances. I played sports in high school. Like I had like people, but not people I would hang out with. And when I went to UVA, it was a total culture shock for me. Like I never like drank alcohol. I'd never partied before. So like coming into college, I was like, yo, like I don't like this at all. And it took me a year to get adjusted. But like with the help of my roommate and some other friends, I finally like broke out of my shell and started, socializing after, sophomore year, junior year. And I found that I actually had a really good skill of connecting with people. It just took me so much time to build. I was a very late bloomer. And now that's why even through social, like if I see someone that's creating good business content, like I'll comment on their posts, I'll reach out to them via DM and I'll make that connection, because for the longest time, I didn't have that skill and I wanted that. I wanted to create connection. I wanted to meet other business owners. I didn't know anyone in college that was doing something similar to me. And I'm sure there were people. I just didn't have it in me to go seek those people out. And now through content and going to college, I learned how to speak to people. You can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on learning how to speak to people.
That's right. My belief is that most people actually do love and get energy and receive energy from people in environments. It's all a range, right? But I think the label introvert has been used too much, and it's just that people haven't become skilled, especially post-COVID and like people getting isolated in social media, people just doom scrolling. I think we've forgotten that as humans, we all actually love interacting with people, and maybe not all the same people all the time. But what I'm hearing from you is that you changed your environment too. So you went from whatever environment you were in that you were labeled as an introvert, and then you went into college and discovered that maybe you weren't an introvert and you did like people and you enjoyed connecting with people. So what would you say to someone your age or even older that's isolated to get out of being an introvert, or what they label as an introvert?
I think you need to put yourself in spaces with just a volume of people where you're almost forced to interact with them. So I joined a bunch of clubs, and I started going to a lot of social events when I was like pretty uncomfortable. Like I'd never done stuff like that ever in my life. And in the beginning, it's gonna suck. Go back to your question of should everyone go to college? I can only speak for myself because it's such a nuanced question. Like everyone's scenario, I feel like you can't generalize everyone's scenario. I grew up super privileged. I know a lot of people are not. And I just want to be super transparent. Like I grew up privileged and my parents were able to pay for my school. In-state tuition at UVA is not cheap. I think it's around $30,000 a year. Like that's a lot of money. Over the course of 4 years, that's 120 grand. And if I had to pay that, I actually don't think I'd be sitting here with you right now. Like my parents put me in that position. So I can generalize to someone who's like very similar to me, but how many people are privileged, are like very, socially awkward at 18? Like, it's just such a specific scenario that I can't generalize.
Do you feel like you have to apologize for being privileged?
No, I'm open about it.
Yeah.
My parents came from nothing. Like we talk about like, oh, we come, like my parents came from nothing. Like you go to the village where my parents came from in India, and it's like, my dad didn't have shoes until he was like 13. Like the first time he wore a shoe was at 13. Growing up in the village in India, like you really get a perspective on life. I feel like anything I achieve now, it would not be more difficult than what they came from. Like they come from absolute dirt, nothing, like brick houses, no electricity. Like it's just a different world. And I urge anyone that's watching this, like I feel like everyone needs to one day like take a trip to somewhere in the villages in Africa or India. It just gives you a new perspective on life. And it made me so much happier actually. Because it's like these people that live in the village are so happy. And I speak fluent like Tamil, so like I like talk to these people and I've like heard a lot of stories, and they're just so content, and that's why they live so long. Like so many people there like live till they're 95, 100. It's low stress. They're not a lot of high maintenance for what they want in life. Like they live a very simple life. They live a very long time, and they're grateful for what they have. My dad was a little bit different. I think he was just genetically born to, I want something different. And he was able to come out from that and come to America. But most of my extended family is still out there and they're super happy, so happy. And they're playing the game they want.
So if they're happy and fulfilled, then why should Indians move to the US to start a new life?
How can we generalize a statement like you should do this when there's so many different scenarios of people? It's just impossible. Like I can say like my dad should have done this, he should have done that. But the next man who is also living in the village might want something different out of life. So how can I tell him you should do this when he just wants something different? Like I think everyone wants different things. And they're also wired differently. A lot of it's genetic. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I do is just like genetically almost comes from my dad. Like why did I want to sell shoes at 17? Like I was already set up to go to great colleges. Like I would have worked a great corporate. Like why did I actually am not exactly sure why I was motivated to do that. Like why was I motivated at 20 years old while I'm in college, still doing school, to go to a little 11 by 19 office and clean dirty shoes for hours on end and list them and sell them? Like I actually don't know why I was motivated to do that.
I think when you have a purpose or a desire for something greater than yourself, even if it is money when you're young, but it's not the money, it's like you're going and discovering things about yourself, which is really cool. So let's talk about the social media, because you went from what, 0 followers to almost 500,000 on Instagram in like 9 months?
Yeah. It's insane.
Wild.
I honestly can't believe it's been kind of a fever dream what's happened in the last 9 to 10 months. I kind of just like pinching myself. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I'm loving every second of it. I'm really trying to like live in the moment. Meeting the type of people I wanted to meet my whole life. I've been able to speed run that pretty much in these last 9 months.
Yeah, it's one of my motivations behind the podcast is I just want to go meet cool people that are like doing the cool stuff, like whatever that is. And so you got to meet GaryVee, right? So what was that like?
Probably top 5 days of my life for sure. Like I told you guys, I started all of this, the shoe thing, because of GaryVee. When I was cleaning shoes, I watched GaryVee videos religiously. I just have them in the background. Almost to the point, it's almost like kind of weird. Like they tell you like not to idolize another man, but like I fully just, he was like my hero, right? So when I saw the opportunity that I could, have some one-on-one time with him, and I was this is crazy. I was introducing myself and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, brother, I've seen it. And when he said that, I was like, no way. Like GaryVee like has seen my stuff. It was the greatest feeling ever. And the question I asked him was, I haven't made any money through social media. Like this stuff, like I haven't taken a single dollar from it. I've gotten paid for like views on TikTok, but it's marginal, right? I haven't taken a single brand deal in cash. I've done nothing. And my question to him was, if I am kind of selling something, I'm selling bookings with the cabin, right? Like that
That's not real money though.
That's like what I'm selling through documenting this journey is like, I want to get the cabin fully booked out through direct booking and not through Airbnb. So I am kind of selling something. But my question to him was, I feel almost weird. I've done it authentically for almost so long now that I almost feel weird. Like if I wanted to pitch anything or if I wanted to sell something, how should I do that? If I wanted to start a community, like it just almost feels weird because I've done it for so long without doing that. And he said, they're going to know if you don't believe in the product you're selling, if you fully believe in it. And he went through his stories of, he'll go on spurts of selling nothing and just providing pure value. And then he'll drop something like VFriends or all the products he's doing. And then he'll go on a spurt there. It's like jab, jab, right hook. I haven't read his book, honestly, but I get the concept where it's like, what he was telling me is that you've been jabbing for a year, which is like you've created the biggest trust in your audience ever. And it's so valuable. And I want to hold on to that. Like, I want to hold on to that with dear life. I see so many people like flexing the money and all that stuff. And I just want to be transparent. Dude, I'm broke. I don't make any money through social, at least not yet. Not to say that I won't pick up a check soon, but I haven't made any money through social. But in my mind, I've made $2 million in equity value in Royal Oak Retreat. One reason why the thesis behind it is there's a property called Live Oak Lake, and Isaac French is the developer behind that. He built 7 cabins for $2 million, and 18 months after he started operating, he sold those 7 cabins for $7 million. So in 18 months, he 3x'd the real estate investment, which you don't see that ever, right? And a huge part of that, he went on a podcast, I think, talking about the private equity company that bought him out, and he talked about how they valued his real estate asset at $5 million, but they valued the direct bookings and the brand he had built through Instagram and short form and TikTok. They valued that brand at $2 million, which is why he sold for 7. And I was like, that's absurd. You're telling me he increased the value of a real estate asset through Instagram videos for $2 million? I have to double down on this. So that's why I really double down on creating content. I think Royal Oak Retreat, if we ever do exit, I'm not sure if we'll hold on to the asset or sell it, but I think the brand value that's been created is in the millions for Royal Oak Retreat.
I love that you brought this up because I was going to bring it up because I saw that you guys were inspired by Isaac. I've talked to Isaac. He's a buddy of mine. And yeah, the asset was valued at $5 million, which is good on its own. But then the funnel of direct bookings to actual like cash collected, right? There was the Instagram page that actually generated money. It wasn't just followers. It wasn't just follower count. It wasn't just, oh, I'm on Expedia or whatever. He had an additional asset of the funnel. And then they valued that at a certain value. And I call that, what I call that is cap rate compression. Meaning if it's worth 5 million at a 10 cap, they compress the cap rate because they had an additional piece of leverage that the buyer is looking at as extremely valuable. And so what I'm hearing from you is you actually listened to Gary, you actually listened to Isaac, and you took action on everything that you learned. And you shouldn't idolize people, but the power of social media is that now you get to surround yourself with the people that are teaching you and elevating you to the next level, right? Like I put Gary's videos on in the background. I put Dan's videos on in the background. Alex, Cody, all of these people, if you actually take their advice, you will change your life instead of surrounding yourself with people that are just going out drinking and partying all the time. So I really commend you on it. And it sounds so simple, but I want people to hear what you're saying, that you consumed content and you actually took action. And now here you are with 500,000 followers. You're gonna generate money off your bookings. You're gonna generate money from a community that you're gonna start at some point, right?
Yeah.
Or something. And then you're gonna be able to grow that even more. So I just wanted to nail that point down. So with the content, so what else did Gary tell you? Or like, what can you tell millennials about creating content?
I get so many DMs about how do I start this, how do I start that. Like I actually have like a shell message that I send like all these people. It's put the phone on the tripod and just hit record. Because your first if you scroll down my videos, the first 5 to 10 videos, regardless, I could like handhold them through the whole thing. Regardless, it's not going to be good for at least first 5 to 10 videos is not going to be good. And like you said, right? Like I took action, but for 5 years I didn't. Like I would just have the videos in the background and I would hear Alex say like, you need to do higher leverage activities and you need to delegate. And I never did it. In the last year, I finally have had the balls to like actually put it on the line and do what these people are saying. And this is what's happened. It's actually just a fever dream. I really like being on this podcast with you, like talking to GaryVee. And to answer your question, what I would tell millennials is just put the phone on the tripod and record. What GaryVee told me also was like, you need to double down. You have to double down and keep documenting, keep creating. Because one thing I've also seen is that this is just a game of attrition too. I've seen so many business creators come and go who have so much, like their projects are equally, if not more cool than what I'm doing. It's just a thing. It's like, how long can you last in the game? And most people can't last a year. Like I've only done it for 1 year. I've only done it for 1 year. And I've already seen so many people come and go. I'm imagining when I go my next year, like there'll be even more people that drop off. So it's just put the phone on the tripod and be prepared to like, you have to put in 12 months. Have to put in 12 months and you might not see anything.
Yeah. And they tell podcasters like 3 years, honestly. And that's if you are doing it the right way and not just like treating it like a hobby.
Yeah.
Right. The circles get a lot smaller once you start actually doing it. Because just like you said, the people that stay consistent and keep doing it, less and less. Like we think it's saturated. We think there's so many people out there doing stuff, but no. And like your example, Royal Oak Retreat, beautiful project, incredible story. And it's just a cabin in the woods in Virginia.
Yeah.
It's just a cabin in the woods in Virginia.
It's the same design as Isaac's. We just bought the plans.
Exactly. And it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be incredible. And it's just a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
But you figured out how to do storytelling. I watched a video of yours. I used to work for the power company. Boring. Engineer. Whatever. You told a story about the power pole that got put in and the transformer, and it was like a dating story.
Yeah.
I watched, and then there was a Pikachu element, and I was like, look, he just took a really boring subject and made it really fun to watch. Like, how do you get into the storytelling element? What is it about storytelling that you can teach people?
I'm so happy that you picked up on that. I'm so happy that you picked up on that. One barrier that's been broken in my mind in these last 10 months is that there's no topic that is uninteresting. There's no topic that is uninteresting. And if people aren't watching it, you're just not telling the story good enough. The first time I hit 1 million views on a video was talking about our septic tank, like a shit tank. First time. And it wasn't even at the site. It was me in my college apartment. I had a dirty piece of lined paper and I slid it into the camera. And I'm like, we have our 4 plots subdivided and I don't think the engineer thinks he can't fit it on this, yada, yada. It's just all in the visuals and the storytelling. I'm huge on the visuals, even more than the storytelling now. Like I will spend 30 minutes because one person I've been listening to a lot is MrBeast and how he thinks about psychology. And he talks a lot about this thing called the purple elephant. And it's like people scroll and they want to see something that's like, they want to see a pattern break and something that's different. And people see before they hear. So I really focus on how is my first shot looking? Like I'll put up a drone in the sky and I'll stand on the deck, or I'll be like doing pull-ups like on the deck. Like, I'll be doing something weird. It's all a psychology game. And it's just how can you get that first person to react and watch past 3 seconds? Like that's like the number one thing in storytelling and any of the videos. It's like in short form, can you get people to watch past the 3 second mark? Because if they watch past 3 seconds, they're way more likely to watch the whole video. And a lot of that is in the first visual. So with the transformer and like the dating stuff, I can't exactly remember what my hook was on that, but I'm pretty sure I in the hook I'm probably doing something weird. Like I think
you were doing pull-ups in that one.
No, I actually remember I put a ladder on the deck and I was on top of the ladder and I'm like, we just went 300,000 in debt. And then I started the story. And yes, like you need to have a great story to keep retention, but the hook is everything there. I don't know if I answered your question. I think I went on like a
basically like what are the other elements of storytelling too? Because I noticed that you take really simple things. That was a dating example, but then there was like, I think it was a bridal party stayed at Royal Oak before it. And it was literally like I can imagine what happened. It was like they texted you and were like, "Hey, we need somewhere to get ready for the wedding. Can we use your cabin?" And you're like, "Oh, it's not done yet, but we'll set it up for you so that it looks good for photos." Like that, it could have been like a 30-second conversation, and you turned it into a storytelling video about the bride and about what you did with the bathroom and about the furniture that you put in. In my mind, and I think, and I'm gonna say millennials again, or people in general, I think they have a hard time feeling confident that they're going to be able to tell a story or that it's going to be interesting. So like, what is it about creating the story that you've been able to unlock?
Yeah, I think it's just boiling it down to like the most easy to understand concept. So with the dating thing, right? Like a lot of people don't know about transformers and electricity, but everyone knows the concept of dating. Everyone knows the concept of dating. So I was like, there's 3 parts to the electricity. There's the pole, there's a transformer, and then there's the cabin, right? There's 3 things. And I'm like, well, in dating, there's a man, woman, and then sometimes there can be a therapist. And I'm like, what? I'm just trying to, they're not complex concepts, but you want to, I'm big on like analogies and stuff. So that's why I did like the Pikachu one. Like everyone, not a lot of people know like Airbnb building development, but everyone knows who Pikachu is. Like everyone knows Pokemon. So I'm big on like analogies, and I'll talk about like LeBron and stuff. Like I'm boiling it down. I'm trying to compare these topics to stuff that everyday people know. And I think that's a huge part of storytelling, is that you want to get as many people to understand as possible. Like I can get really technical and talk about the real estate and talk about like the engineering, but I don't think as many people, especially me, like if you talked to me 10 months ago, I actually wouldn't understand what was going on. But if you talk to me in like very simple concepts, then the storytelling is like very understandable, right? So that's like an analogy part. But like just for if I'm talking about like the bride and like that story, I don't know if I have like a formula. I'm trying to think. Like I actually don't have a formula that I can like give to people that's just like, here's how I tell a story. Cause I feel like every single one is kind of different. And that's why my content is like very novel. It's like every single story is like a little bit different, and that's why people enjoy it. So I don't really like have a framework on it. But the analogies part is like, you have a complex concept, you relate it to something that everyone knows, and you just tell the story like through that analogy.
And then you just do it too. And so you've been posting every day since the beginning, right? You posted the video where you and Renzo were lying to everybody, right?
Yeah.
About you coming from a privileged background and like, real estate developers, but that's where the line came from about you don't have to be spectacular to do spectacular things. And that was what, 176 days ago?
Yeah. So I haven't been posting every day. There are points where like I'll post every day. It's more like episode 176.
Okay.
It's been about 10 or 11 months. So January 10th is when we made that video. And what are we in now? It's November.
Yeah, November. Mid-November, yeah.
Yeah, so what is that? I'm sure that's like 200 something days, but
about 295, because that's about when I launched the podcast too.
Yeah. It's about
okay. But still, essentially you're posting every day. I mean, more than 99% of the world.
Yeah, 4 to 5 times a week on average.
And so what are the things that you do to like guarantee or like set yourself up for success that you're going to post?
Yeah, I think a huge, this also needs to be like completely transparent, is that I have Renzo, and I know a lot of people don't. And operationally, he takes, in the beginning, we were like, okay, he knows a lot about development. The Instagram wasn't even part of the picture. Like I was just posting shoe content. I hadn't even posted about it. So I think we were under the impression that we were going to manage the construction 50-50 and I was going to learn as I go. And then the Instagram just took off. Like I was just posting to post just for fun, and it just took off. And he was like, yo, this is bringing us so much opportunity. I'm already obsessed with real estate development. I love this. Just take a back seat. Just plug in like 10% until we launch. When we launch the property, you're going to be the full property manager. You're going to be like, I've been posting a little bit less now because I've been like setting up like the email marketing, and then also like setting up the website and like all the things like in the back end, like when we manage, I'm going to be running that stuff. So now I'm like posting a little bit less. But the reason why we blew up so much is because I had Renzo actually like operating the entire business. Like I had that. And my goal he was like, your goal should just to be post as many bangers as we can and get in front of all these people. And that was my goal for 10 months. And I did that. And I had the freedom to. So I had the freedom to spend 6 hours on every video. That's how long it takes me. It takes me on average like 6 hours start to finish to make one Instagram reel. And I had the freedom to do that because I had Renzo. And I know it's very tough. I made content while doing shoes, and you can see the quality difference there. Like there, it's just like I just put the tripod up and it's just whatever I'm doing that day, and I'll chop it up very quickly. But the real estate content was super intentional. It's pretty edited. The storytelling, like I'll script out every video. I'm like very intentional about the shots. I can spend 30 minutes setting up the first shot and making sure the angle's perfect because I have Renzo there to like I have him to fall back on.
Because there are these creators like Higher Up Wellness, Michael Smoke, Ask Cat GPT, although she does a mix. But there's these different creators where they'll just turn on the camera and start recording, and a lot of their stuff can get a ton of views just from talking to the camera. But then you're saying it does take you 6 hours. You got to set up your shots. And that's what I've seen too, is that there's also a balance of like higher quality, higher standard. But what I've seen is, and you tell me if this is true, is as the business owner, you have to think of yourself as a content creator first, right? And so you have Renzo, but you're a content creator first, because that's what's going to bring in the leads. That's what's going to bring in the people. That's what's going to bring in the business. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. There's so many different formats that can do well on Instagram. There's so many. Like I've done it well with like the quick cuts and the angles. And there's a guy, I think he's building this thing called a 5,000 euro house. His name is Justice Reed. And all he does is like, my 5,000 euro house. And he does everything selfie style and it's not very edited. And a bad video for this guy's 10 million views. Like it's the most insane thing I've ever seen. Like there's so many people, there's so many different formats and there's so many different types of people. Like Michael Smoke, he just has such a presence on camera. Just has such a great presence. I feel like I don't have the same presence to where I can just like talk to the camera. So I have to do these other things to compensate for it. I need to have cool angles. I need to have these quick cuts. I need to be more edited. Who knows? Like maybe I can get to that point one day, but I also like making my style of video. I think it's to say that like I can say, hey, here's how you should do the angles. Here's how you should say your words. And then there's another guy like Justice Reed who's doing it completely opposite to what I say, and he does a lot better than me. And then there's other people who do it even more edited and cinematic than I do, and also do it really well. Like there's just so many ways you can skin the cat. So many ways.
Yeah, I agree. And you find what works, but literally the only way to do it is by starting.
Oh yeah.
Literally the only way to do it is by starting. You're not going to be able to figure it out. You can't like learn how to ride a bike just by reading about how to ride a bike or watching other people ride a bike. You got to go ride the freaking bike.
I think the theory now is just that Instagram rewards novelty. Like that's as specific as I can keep it.
Even with podcast clips, I think people got really tired and are still really tired of like seeing people with microphones in front of their faces.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm going to go try to figure out what the novelty around podcast clips is and like how I can continue to create content, create these conversations that people actually want to watch and they actually want to see. So I do want to talk about Yanni and the dogs.
The dogs.
Like I think that was actually the first video I saw of you guys was you were talking about the old historic building. I think it's in Chicago.
So Zach is rehabbing a historic building in Kansas City.
Yep. Kansas City. Yeah. So there's the Kansas City building. There's the bowling alley.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a liquor store?
Yeah. His name's Corey. He's not in the dogs. I haven't met him. I've chopped it up with him on the phone. That dude is super cool. I really, there's so many guys. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. You have now, and then Sujay, we talked about Sujay. Like there's all these people you've influenced, right? Because you're storytelling, you're having fun and like, but you're these young kids. And I watched this video, you're these young kids that are speaking in the lingo of real estate. You know what raising money is. You know what debt is. You know what leverage is. You know what cash on cash. And I'm like, how are these kids, how do they know all this stuff? And then how did you guys also learn how to have fun talking about real estate? Like, what is it about, like, how do you know all these guys? And like, what happened?
It's all through Instagram. This is one thing I'm proud of and I will brag about is that I think I've created the best and biggest network within like the business creator community because I consciously made an effort to answer all my DMs. And then also when I saw someone make a video like in my style and they have a cool business, I'm like, I feel like some people would be like, dude, he's like copying me. Bro, there's so many people that have cool businesses. They've been doing it longer than me. They just started documenting it because it's really cool. Like when I saw the liquor store guy make his videos, I'm like, this is insane. What 23-year-old takes on debt to buy a liquor store in Canada? That's insane. And then when I saw Yanni stuff, I'm like, what kid is rehabbing a bowling alley? But at the same time, dude, there's levels to this. Like I really thought what me and Renzo did was like a great risk and we took on $300K in debt. And then I met Zach, who is working on a $40 million project, raised $6 million in equity in 1 month to close on the Aladdin, and then get backed by the government with historic. Like it was just insane, and he had to get people to personally sign on the debt. Like there's just levels to this. There's truly just levels to this.
Well, but yeah, tell me about that because I work with people. I'm 39 years old. I spent the last 7 years building up my real estate portfolio. I did the Airbnb route, buying hotels now. And I coach people and I talk to people my age, older, that are so afraid of raising money, so afraid of taking on debt, so afraid of like taking a quote unquote risk. How have you guys been able to just like be like, yeah, cool, let's do it?
There's so many investors out there that want to invest in younger people, like young, hungry people. And I've met them actually through Zach. Zach raised his equity check through Twitter. This is why I hopped on Twitter. I was like, how did you raise $6 million? Like he got the Aladdin under contract and had to raise $6 million in equity in a month. And I'm like, bro, how did you do that? He's like, bro, I just hopped on Twitter. I'm like, you can raise 6 million through Twitter. So he found his, I think, 2 or 3 partners in Chicago to fund the check. And Zach Moser's first investor is now in contact with me and Renzo to potentially do this next big project. And yeah, how do we do it so young? Like, I just think I got lucky with the social media. I actually am not exactly sure how I would raise money if I didn't have the social media. Just because like I've never gone to like, I think the game is like you go to the capital markets and you raise money. I have no experience in that, so I can't really talk to that. I can speak personally from experience. Like if you go on the internet and you talk about what you know, the right people will watch it. And if you actually know your stuff, like there will be people who are interested in investing in you.
That's right. Yeah. I think as of today, I have about 5,000 followers. But if you also look at who follows me, it's a very like, it's lopsided. Like I've got a lot of big people following me, but my content just hasn't popped off yet. But with those 5,000 followers, they're ride or die. And I started a community. I launched my community because I made the same mistake that you did. I didn't share anything while I was building my entire real estate portfolio.
Yeah.
And our designs are crazy, like really good designs. We've done a ton of construction. Like I'm living a dream life of somebody out there, but I didn't share it. But now I've got 5,000 followers, launched my community, and I'm actually helping people. And so the lesson there, like, yeah, you've got 500,000. Like you don't need 500,000 followers to go make money or to go help people or to go raise money. Like the real estate community is actually a lot smaller than you think. There's a lot of people that need help.
Dude, it's so small. And I realized that because I pretty much met all the biggest short-term rental developers within the first month of me making content.
That's right.
Which is insane, actually.
What people don't realize is once you start doing interesting things or like doing things for yourself, there's way more collaboration that happens because we all went through it. I went through the pain. I know what it's like to go through the permitting process.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I know what it's like to go through the permitting process and get stonewalled because you didn't go talk to them or like, I know all the pains of everything, and I want to prevent people from having to go through that, right? And accelerate it, and you become more successful than me, and like that's what I want for the world, right? And so that's what you get to do now, and you're at 22, and like I'm 39 and just really getting started on this. So that's the same thing with the podcast game. Like people say there's a ton of podcasters, everyone's got a mic, but I'm doing it differently.
Yeah.
And I see Rich Summers in San Diego, I see Shoregren out in Boston, like. There's all these people and like there's no one out in Seattle. I'm out in Seattle, so guess what? I'm gonna go be the Seattle guy, right? And you get to be the Virginia guy or wherever you end up. And I just think it's so special that you're doing this. So I do want to ask about the numbers because you took out $300K of debt.
It's 200. The loan is $276,000.
And how much cash did you need to be able to take that $276,000 loan?
We bought the land in cash for $37,000, and we were able to. You already know the numbers, but just for the people watching, when you buy a house, you put down like a down payment on the house. In construction, you can use the cash value of the land as your quote unquote down payment. So what happened was that we bought it in cash for $37,000, but the bank only appraised it at $20,000. And we wanted to get a 90% loan to cost loan. So we needed around, I'm just rounding the numbers to like make it easier. So we needed like a $300,000 loan. And in order to get that, we need, what's the math on this?
30,000.
We needed 30,000, right?
Yeah.
So we had to bring an extra 10 grand to the table when we closed to get that equity value. And then we got the whole project cost leveraged through the bank.
Yeah, and this is really important because appraisers are the ones that will either make or break your deal.
Yeah.
So you bought the land for 37, but they appraised it at 20.
Yeah, and the reason they did that was that there's a public road. It was undeveloped, but the land is subdivided into 4 lots. And they said this road, they can only appraise one side. I don't even know how this stuff works, but they're like, we can only appraise one side of like the cash value that you put down only works on one side. I'm like, how does that even make sense? Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you can't argue with the bank, right? Like I can't be like, no, like it's actually appraises for this much. Like you get what you get. So we had to bring an extra 10 grand in cash. And the 80 grand cash that me and Renzo brought is made up of that. So the 37 grand and then plus the 10 to close. And then also this thing called FF&E. So furniture, fixtures, and equipment. That's stuff that the bank won't loan on. So like hot tub, sauna, cold plunge, furniture, like
Couch,
all this,
bed,
all the
art,
stuff.
yeah.
So that's like another 40 grand. So 40 plus 40, 80 grand cash that came from us. And then a 90% loan to cost loan, 276,000.
Okay, loan to cost. What's the value when it's all done?
I think who knows what the bank will appraise it at. We're hoping like 350 to 400.
Yeah. So you'll actually be underwater a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the FF&E, which is
Yeah.
common for Airbnbs.
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning, you got to spend a little bit more to furnish it.
Yeah.
But how much revenue do you think you're going to generate?
Yeah. So the comps, the top comps in our area are anywhere from 120 to 160 grand. And that's just revenue, right? Like it's not, that's top line profit or top line revenue. And I think we can make a 50% margin on that. So in the worst case scenario, I think we can hit 120 grand revenue. We've already gotten a lot of direct bookings. So I'm thinking we can smash that, but we're just being like conservative for now. So I'm thinking 120 top line revenue, 60 grand profit for each unit.
That's right. And so your cash on cash then is about, I'll just call it 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put 80 grand in total.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get 80 grand net if you hit.
I think we can hit 80 grand net. And yeah, obviously that's
so you're 100% cash on cash.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's doing that. Right. Nobody does that right now. It's like 30 to 40 at best for most stuff.
And Live Oak Lake, I really like that as a comp. They traded at an 8 cap. So what is that? Around like a 12x multiple. So 80 grand times 12. Let's do the math there. What is that?
1.2, we'll call it.
Somewhere.
Something like that.
We would love to sell at a basis of around 1 million per cabin, if possible.
Yeah. So you are banking on selling at a cap rate, not just at appraised comp. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. See, no 22-year-old knows this stuff, bro. Like no 22-year-old or no 23-year-old knows this stuff. Like you're talking about stuff that people don't get.
It's really Renzo's thesis. Like he's the one that's like the visionary that taught me all this stuff. But this asset class in real estate is trading like no other. Like you can't find, and obviously Isaac is like the top, right? Like it's like an anomaly, but I feel like we can replicate something like that just because we have the social following and gonna have the direct bookings. And we can get our NOI super, like we are the market, basically. Like people are coming in from all parts of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area to come stay at our place. And that has real value in a business. Like hopefully we won't be on Airbnb. Obviously I'm gonna list it on Airbnb in the beginning. But in a perfect world, eventually in like 1 year, 2, who knows how long it'll take. We're not on Airbnb, we're completely directly booked. And to buyers, but people who want to buy this asset class, they love to see that. Like that's like an actual hotel. Like they don't rely on Airbnb to take a cut from them. They're just 100% directly booked.
Exactly, because you created the demand. And so Isaac's thesis was, we're in Waco, we're in the Texas Triangle between Dallas, Austin, and Houston. Yeah. 2.5 hours driving distance from each, essentially. So just like the DMV area, you're within a short driving distance of all those. Tons of money out here. You're in the woods. You're building things that don't exist right now. So you're solving a problem, because that's what people forget is they look at what's existing and they try to replicate. But you're creating a new product. You are creating a new product that doesn't exist right now in this area, and you're creating direct bookings. You're not dependent on platforms. You are creating a business, and so now it's going to trade like a business. It's not going to just trade like a property, like a normal house that you're buying and selling.
I think one caveat is that we're building something new in our area. The whole thesis was that if we bring Live Oak Lake to Virginia, like we can't fail. That's like overall is the thesis. Is obviously we don't have like a pond either, right? Like we don't have a lake, but if we can build a Live Oak Lake style property in Virginia, like we don't see that in Virginia, we can't fail. So that was our thesis. So we did copy Live Oak Lake. Like Isaac French, what he did, it's the same design. Like you look at the cabinet, it's literally the same thing. But it is also new in a sense that this market hasn't seen this product. Whereas like if we built it in Waco, I'm sure it wouldn't do as well, just because like there's already something like that out there. But in the DMV, like there's not. So I think that's why we're going to do really well.
All right. And so then you're going to build Royal Oak Lake. Like what's next?
I think there's a lot of different avenues we can go. We don't exactly know yet. We can do a big project. There's a huge property called Bolt Farms, if you've heard of them. Bolt Farms.
I've interviewed Seth and Tori. They're my friends.
Yeah. We would love to take on a project like that, try to create like a Bolt Farms equivalent in Virginia. That's like the land I was talking about. There's a land next to Luray Caverns that we're looking at that we might want to close on. But it's building something like that is very time intensive, and I'm sure I've never talked to the Bolts, but I'm sure it's one of the hardest things. I'm sure it is the hardest thing they've ever done. And I couldn't imagine the time and the effort and the pain they went through to build something beautiful like that. I think one thing that's been brought to my attention is that brand value is so huge. And if we want to scale, like our dream is to have a bunch of Royal Oak retreats across the East Coast. That's not really going to be possible, us doing it one at a time, like buy land, get it. I think the only way we can do that is like a franchising model. Whereas like we have the brand. I think one avenue we can go is that we go on Airbnb and we see underperforming properties that still fits the aesthetic of a Royal Oak. We come in, we don't put in any of the capital, but the operator takes the brand Royal Oak Retreat. Like that's also an option. I think there's a bunch of different things. We're not exactly sure where we're going to go. I just think we're super focused on like, we need to get this right. Like none of that works. Like building a Bolt Farms equivalent franchising, like none of that works unless we execute on this first one like to a T. When we do that though, like the sky's the limit. Like we could franchise, we could do a really big project. We have the money, we would have the funding for it. There's a lot of different avenues we can go.
Yeah, I think the thing to remember too about Isaac is that he sold.
Yeah,
he sold his like capstone project. Right. But he still gets the brand. He still gets the recognition. He still gets the acknowledgement, and he gets to help people and still go on. And so there's opportunities to sell. And I think a lot of people in real estate, they don't think that they'll ever sell or they don't see the benefit. But there's so many different things that you can be doing. So you turned down the job offer for JP. You were working for them, right?
I did an internship last summer in Dallas, and I had a return offer. Yeah, so I was going to go back.
So you were going to go back to JPMorgan, and then now here you are. What is it, 9 months later, 500,000 followers. You literally this weekend just finished Royal Oak Retreat, the first unit.
Yeah.
You're going to build 2 more. Like, how did you know that this was the right decision for you?
I didn't know, but it was really my parents. They just supported me through it all. Like my dad was the one. It's crazy because we have these like stereotypes in like Indian, Asian households. Like you need to do things a certain way. And so, like my parents have never pressured me to do anything ever. And I remember when I had the job offer and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to try to do both. Like after I graduated, this was in around April. I told my dad, I think it'd be a good idea for me to do both and the reason I was saying that is because it was so difficult for us to get a loan. And at the time, like we didn't have as many followers and like, the funding was an issue for the second unit. We didn't know how we were going to fund the second unit. And I was telling my dad, hey, like, I think it would be really valuable if I still had a W-2 income. I could get a loan under my name with the W-2 to fund the second lot. And he was like, that's probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like if you're going to try to do both, if you're going to try to work the job and do the development, you're going to be bad at both. So just choose one because it's already hard to do one thing really well. And my dad was someone who had already started a business that he sold. So he knows what it's like to really focus on one thing and the importance of that. So after he said that, I already knew I wasn't going to go back. I already knew. So it wasn't really a hard decision for me to make. I knew it was the right decision. Obviously now, like sitting here now, I'm like, obviously this is the right decision. But at the time, how did I know it was the right decision? I didn't really know. I kind of just made it. That's like where my gut instinct kind of came in, where it was like, I didn't hate the job. I wasn't someone who was like, oh, I was miserable there. Like I didn't hate it. It was good hours. It was good pay. I wanted to do shoe business on the side with that and keep buying investment properties. Like I feel like I would have gotten very wealthy doing that as well. Like I'm not going to bash JPMorgan or that. Like they were so good to me. Like I'm not going to bash them. But at the same time, like I just felt like I was on a trajectory to where we got this under contract. Like it was going well. The social following wasn't growing at the rate it was now, but I could see like a vision there. And my dad was just like, you got to choose one. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I got it.
Honestly, that piece of advice is probably some of the best advice that you've ever received. Because so many entrepreneurs, so many business owners, so many kids, so many adults, everybody that ever wants to do anything usually does about 5 things because they're scared of letting go of the potential opportunity behind any one of those 5 things, right? We fill our days with whatever it is that we want to fill them with, or we're working our job to then go be able to buy the house or the property. But instead of taking that job, and I don't know what they were going to pay you, probably 150K or more, maybe.
It was $100 grand.
100 grand.
100 grand.
Okay.
In Texas is pretty good. Yeah.
And so in one property, you're going to net 80. And I know you got partners and and all that, but on one property, net 80. Once you're done with 3, what is that? 240?
Yeah.
So in a short time, you're already exceeding the level of income and you have the brand, the personal brand to back you up to be able to go do whatever you want for the rest of your life. And he's right. If you would have been at the job and you wouldn't
my content really started popping off right after I graduated.
Yeah.
So, and I was going to start my job right after I graduated. So imagine I go there, like I'm not having this conversation with you right now. Like none of that happens.
And you don't even know what's going to happen after this.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have an idea, but I don't think you have any idea what's going to happen.
I don't.
And that's what's so cool.
Yeah.
You've already met GaryVee. You're on this podcast. There's going to be other people that see it. This is what people don't realize is you can't connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect the dots looking forwards. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. Right. So the story that we're telling is you connecting the dots. There's so many more dots ahead of you. The Garys, the Alexes, like the stuff that you're going to build, you getting on stages, like there's so much ahead of you. And this is one of the reasons that I started the podcast. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I want people to know that anything's possible. You can be any age at any state. You can start at any time. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And it's all about making the decision and going all in on that one thing. So your dad's advice of not being bad at two things is really the thing that everybody that is listening to this podcast right now needs to hear is like, stop doing everything that does not serve your vision and go all in.
Yeah. I mean, it's already so hard to be good at one thing. It was almost like arrogant of me to think that I could do the job and the development at the same time. Like, it's almost a disservice to like other real estate developers who are like, it would be a disservice to Isaac French, honestly. If I'm trying to recreate his product, just like almost half-assing it, it would be like almost a disrespect to him. Like I owed it to myself. I owed it to Renzo to go all in on this. And even let's talk about like even going even narrower. Like the reason I really blew up on social specifically is because I was able to take a back seat for the last 7 months on the operation side and solely focus on content outreach, building like the biggest network possible. And I've done that. It's because I was able to, every day I woke up, I was like, how can I meet more cool people? How can I make the best video? And how can I build a bigger audience? Like that was my focus every single day for pretty much like the last around 7 or 8 months.
I just got chills because I don't think you understand how tapped in to the way of being that you are. And what you just said is what I want everybody to know and everybody to understand is that that's how you go be successful is you have a desire to go connect with people and be better. You take advice, you're open. Like everything that you've talked about in this interview, I'm just like, I'm so glad that everyone's going to get a chance to hear this and hear it from you because you sort of just gave a masterclass in like how to be successful just by being a good person. So Rajan, this was great.
Dude, I could talk to you all day. This is awesome. I
am so grateful to have you here. Let's run it back another time.
100%. Dude. I got to come to Seattle.
Yeah, let's come to Seattle. We'll do an event.
I want an excuse to come to Seattle.
Yeah, we can bring Thatch, right? You can meet Thatch. You can meet all the folks that I've had on the podcast. And we'll run it back, dude. I appreciate you so much. I love what you're doing. I'm so glad that you said yes and that everybody gets a chance to see you and hear you. So,
dude, thank you so much, brother. Man. Yeah. This is awesome.
And as always, everybody, I appreciate you. I love you. This has been For Your Own Good. Peace.